Hello, I'm Dr. Ramesh Ramachandra, and I'm the founder of Talent Leadership Crucible. Today I'm here with Purani Tanusha, who is our principal consultant and a facilitator of an exciting program, and it's called the Sustainable Success for Collective Advantage. It's a 3-day program. Purani, share a little bit more about what we do in the program, like the key approach of that program.
Thank you, Dr. Ramesh. This particular program is designed to shift ourselves as an individual, right, with the areas of our lives that are important to us, that how can we have a new access to a new way of thinking, a new way of acting, so that we get new kinds of results. The key thing that makes this special is the shift happens not from dealing with our past or what happened to us, but really from dealing with what's the future that we want to fulfill. And in that process, shifting our perspective from individual perspective to a collective perspective. And I think this is the key thing, because many times we look at ourselves as being part of something, or in fact, we are apart from something. So many of our challenges or feeling of disconnection comes from that space. When we really start to connect to the whole, the system, we have access to new ways of seeing ourselves, seeing others, and seeing the situations that we're dealing with.
What kind of activities would you have? Is it just a lecture?
Well, it's a combination. There will be lectures presenting certain concepts for further discussion, reflection. And then we have hands-on activities. It's a group setting. In those activities, we start to see how we interact as a group, how we collaborate, how we communicate, how we are willing to be fully transparent in our communication. So things like that. We have fun activities, which takes from our systems thinking background. We have this hula hoop activity. We start to see why is it that we give instructions and then we actually find ourselves bringing the hoop up. And it's very perplexing for people when they're doing it, because they're putting all their best effort and instructions to bring it down, but it keeps going up. But at that moment, they get a very stark realization that it takes more than just following instructions. It takes something else
to have real coordination, collaboration.
To get that result.
If this is about moving someone from being an individual to a collective, it's beneficial for teams of people to come from organizations like the senior management team or in-tech team or like a sales team, so that they can leverage on what they need to do together as a collective.
The whole focus of our work about sustainable success is how we work as teams, because ultimately, to fulfill any result in our life, whether it's in our family, whether it's in our work, we need to interact with others. We need to interact with what's in front of us. We are never doing things alone. So even in this program, we do highly recommend that you come with the people who are engaged in that area of life with you. So if it's a family or if it's a business.
However, for families, we have a special program. They won't come into the corporate version of the program.
Yeah. When we say corporate, meaning the public version of the program, it's designed for looking at the issues that we deal with in our careers or in our business. It will be very focused in those areas.
And who should attend?
I would think if you're a business owner who is looking at what next, if you're a management team member or a CEO who's looking at how to elevate the next level of your team's performance, if you're someone who is really wanting to start something, a startup, or you're looking at how can we all start to gel and create a culture from the very onset, a culture that is having the big picture in place, that's able to collaborate over time, innovate, and it's not circumstantial. It's part of how your DNA of how you operate.
Purani, there are so many programs offered to people. And in fact, the attendees might have already attended other programs. So what's the key difference? Why sustainable success for collective advantage?
Yeah.
And what's it that I would get if I've already done so many programs individually or as a team, right? What's the difference here?
The key difference is what we talk about, uncovering the ultimate blind spot. In fact, it's just one critical blind spot, the fundamental blind spot, that we are not cognizant of how much we are surviving, because our surviving mode has become so much of our success that we have forgotten to engage from the thriving mode. The thriving mode is really about very long-term, very collaborative, looking at what's really out there in the world and how is our lives or how our actions are impacting that. It's not a personal conversation. It's not a professional conversation. I would call it a purpose conversation for people and how people engage.
So what I'm getting from you is that as a participant, I'm engaging in a conversation with other participants and myself. And I'm looking at what keeps me apart and a part of whatever system that I'm interacting with. And it gives me the access to be able to become the whole and to see life in an unfiltered way. And that then allows us to connect to what's really possible.
And the connection here is a very profound connection. I've worked with thousands of people, individuals, groups, companies, NGOs. I personally, and professionally come to a point where it's clear for me what's going to make a biggest difference. If you are someone who's committed to a system change, making something that is impactful happen in your life and in life itself, then this is a program for you.
It's around systems awareness, systems thinking, systems.
The framework that we use is Peter Seng's 5 disciplines and also Otto Scharmer's Theory U. They all come from the same background, MIT, and they're very passionate about systems transformation, systemic change. And so we take a journey, first looking at what's the fundamental blind spot that we have. And that fundamental blind spot is, are we really thriving? And are we operating as a system? Second is looking at what are these mental models that we have that we aren't even cognizant of, and they are concepts. Even let's talk about profitability, the P&L, or the KPIs that we have. They are so much become part of our everyday jargon or lexicon that we actually don't stop to think it. What is it that we are doing? And is this the best way forward? Is this really what we need to use to fulfill on our vision and our future? And then the third thing is that what is the vision really? So when we talk about vision, it's not just having nice words, and especially when we talk about shared vision, it's not like you and I agree with the vision, but what is it deeply in our hearts, deeply in our spirit that we connect to, that becomes an alignment to how we're going to go together. So it's not a majority vote and say, oh yeah, we like that vision, but it's a fundamental connection to a future that we say, this is how we're going to go together. And then the fourth thing that we look at is, okay, great, wonderful, we have this shared vision. Now, how are we going to go together? So that's what we call team learning. And that's fundamental collaboration. It's a big word. We all know we need to collaborate, but do we really collaborate? What does it take to collaborate? And so team learning is really how we can reflect, how we can communicate with each other, how we can feedback or feed forward, however you want to call it, how we can appreciate the learnings and start to really move towards that future. And then the final piece, which really underlies all of this, is what we call personal mastery. So personal mastery is that whether as an individual or as a collective, that what does it take to be resilient, persevering in the face of all the setbacks and challenges that we are bound to deal with as we fulfill this vision, as we start to take this journey, right? So personal mastery is being able to hold that creative tension, meaning that we know where we want to go to, we can see what the reality is, and we don't get stopped by that reality. We keep that vision and we start to always look at new ways. I mean, that's really the genesis of innovation. We start to explore what else can we do? How else can we do this? And that's the creative tension means that we are generated. And so personal mastery is that we are thriving, we can generate, and we are expressing our fullest potential in fulfilling that vision.
We have a choice about being surviving or thriving.
That's right.
And you're going to be sharing in your program tools that we can leverage on to shift us from being surviving to thriving. And practices we'll take away and use it for the rest of my life.
You've got immediate application tools, right? From mindfulness practices to communication, listening skill. Those are immediately accessible. And of course, after the program. How do we continue to practice? And many of my participants and the clients we have to create structures to support accountability that have us continue to practice.
Well, thank you, Purani, for sharing about the program. I think what will be important is for listeners to also hear from those who have done the program and what have they taken away. So some testimonials will be useful. Ms. Trang, I'll be delighted if you can share about your experience in attending the Sustainable Success for Collective Advantage program. It's a 3-day program. You've engaged in personal development for many years. And if you can highlight the differences and the opportunity of learning from that.
Tôi nghĩ rằng cái chương trình đào tạo đó không dừng lại ở cái việc là giúp cho một người khám phá ra sức mạnh của bản thân, mình đang bị vướng mắc ở đâu, cái cách nào để giúp cho mình hoàn thiện bản thân mình hơn, giúp cho cái sự lãnh đạo mình mạnh mẽ hơn, và từ đó sẽ kết nối được với cái việc là mình lãnh đạo một doanh nghiệp. Bởi vì là chỉ khi bạn lãnh đạo được bản thân bạn ở cương vị là một người lãnh đạo thì bạn mới có thể giúp cho đội ngũ của mình khám phá bản thân và lãnh đạo cái đội ngũ đấy phát triển hơn. Thì đây là một cái chương trình mà tôi đánh giá rất là cao, bởi vì là giúp cho mọi người tìm thấy nó ở cái gốc của vấn đề chứ nó không phải là cái ngọn. Nó không phải là chỉ giúp cho những cái tactic, những cái kỹ năng, mà là tìm cái cách để khám phá bản thân mình và giúp cho bản thân mình phát triển hơn.
Hi, Ms. Ren. We're so excited that you were able to do the Sustainable Success for Collective Advantage program. And, you are the CEO of WLM. And we wanted you to share with the audience, what did you get personally and you as a team, because you came with 5 other people of your senior management team.
Đối với cả tôi thì cái khóa học này thì nó mang một cái ý nghĩa cũng rất là đặc biệt trong cái bối cảnh là cái nền kinh tế nó rất là khó khăn, và rất là nhiều doanh nghiệp bỏ rơi vào cái trạng thái khó khăn chung. Thì đối với Cune cũng nằm trong cái vòng xoáy này thì Cune sẽ có cái khó khăn nhất định. Thì cái khóa học này nó đến rất là đúng lúc khi mà chúng tôi nhận ra rằng là chúng tôi cần phải tái cấu trúc lại công ty, cũng như là sẽ thay đổi những cái kích cấu cơ bản trong đội ngũ key của chúng tôi. Thì cái điều đầu tiên mà chúng tôi nhận ra là chúng tôi đang dần mất đi một số những cái kết nối giữa đội ngũ core team cùng với nhau. Thì cái khóa học này nó giúp cho chúng tôi tìm lại được cái sự kết nối với nhau và có cùng một cái tiếng nói chung để giúp cho doanh nghiệp phát triển bền vững.
Since the last 10 years, our company is not as close as this, but the coaching that time benefit the staff of the company to get together. They can work with each other without any boundary, so they will be more connected, and the work efficiency is more effective. But now the company is expand a lot, and I would like to improve my staff to have higher ability, higher thinking, higher innovation. And I think that if I have my staff, I have a group of team that have a capability, same as the owner of the company, how is the company will grow? I think it will like extraordinary growth. That's what I expect too.
So in 2025, we are having a couple of open programs. They'll be held in Vietnam, both in Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi. And if you're interested in attending, drop us an email and we'll get back to you with the registration details. We look forward to having you in our program.
See you at the Sustainable Success for the Collective Advantage.